All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling what medical professionals call a silent epidemic, and it's a topic that literally holds the key to our long-term physical independence. It's one of those hidden threats that so many of us just completely ignore until, out of nowhere, a bone breaks. But here's the thing. Understanding how to proactively protect your skeletal health is absolutely crucial if you want to maintain your mobility, your freedom, and your overall vitality as you age.
We have a lot of really important ground to cover today, so here's our roadmap. We'll start with the silent epidemic, move into nutritional optimization, then exercise and bone loading, crucial lifestyle modifications, screening and medical interventions, and we'll wrap it all up with a sustainable prevention plan.
Okay, part one, the silent epidemic. We're starting right here because osteoporosis is sneaky. It often progresses with absolutely zero symptoms. Just to put this into perspective, think about this number. 10 million Americans are currently walking around with an osteoporosis diagnosis. That is a massive chunk of the population living with severely compromised skeletons, and sadly, many of them were completely in the dark about how fragile their bones had become until they suffered a devastating fracture.
But wait, the hidden danger actually runs way deeper. Another 34 million people suffer from low bone mass. This puts them at an incredibly high risk for future complications. When you combine those numbers together, we're literally looking at a vast public health crisis where people's physical strength is just silently deteriorating day by day. So, what does this all mean in the real world? Well, untreated bone density loss leads to a staggering 16-fold increase in fracture risk. Hip fractures alone cause more than 50,000 deaths every single year. Plus, the healthcare system spends over $20 billion annually on treatment, hospital care, and long-term support. The big takeaway here, early detection is our absolute best weapon to make sure you don't become part of these statistics. Let's move on to section 2, nutritional optimization. Think of your bones like a house being built from the ground up. Calcium is the literal building block making up the walls. It gives your skeleton the structural integrity it needs to support your organs and muscles. But if calcium is the building block, vitamin D is the key that opens the front door to actually let those blocks inside. Without enough vitamin D, your body simply cannot absorb the calcium properly. Even worse, it might start pulling calcium directly out of your existing bone tissue, which slowly weakens it over time. So, how do we actually get these nutrients? Now, in a perfect world, a flawless diet packed with leafy greens, dairy, and fortified cereals would be the absolute dream. But let's be real, life happens. We get busy, we skip meals, or, we just really want to eat a pizza. And that's okay. The evidence shows that balancing your diet with targeted supplements is a total game changer. By working with a healthcare provider to use specific vitamin D and calcium supplements, you can make sure you never fall short on these critical nutrients.
All right, section 3, exercise and bone loading.
This is where things get really cool. We can actually hack our biology to forge stronger skeletons through something called Wolff's Law. Basically, this is the scientific principle proving that bones adapt and actually grow denser in response to the physical stress you put on them. It proves that working out isn't just about building muscle. The calculated physical stress of exercise triggers a direct biological response that forces your bones to increase their mineral density. Sitting around all day actively raises your fracture risk, while purposeful movement forces your bones to literally fortify themselves. To actually put Wolff's Law into action, we use a really powerful two-step approach. Step 1 focuses on high-impact weight-bearing activities. We're talking about things like jogging, dancing, or jumping rope, basically anywhere your legs are vigorously working against gravity. Then, Step 2 brings in resistance training. You can use weights, resistance bands, or just your own body weight to create tension. When you combine those high-impact movements with the muscle tension of resistance training, you've got the ultimate synergistic power combo for your skeleton. Moving right along to section 4, crucial lifestyle modifications. Listen to this quote from the clinical evidence because it hits the nail on the head. The decision to stop smoking is perhaps the single most effective thing you can do for your bones today. No exaggeration. Smoking is a massive risk factor that drastically lowers bone density. But the good news? Quitting radically improves your nutrient absorption and immediately starts restoring essential blood flow to your skeletal system. But it's not just smoking, right? We have to look at a couple of other major lifestyle targets. First up, moderating alcohol. Heavy drinking actively weakens your bones because it disrupts your calcium balance and actually suppresses the very hormones responsible for bone repair. Second is your body weight. Carrying too much weight puts dangerous, excessive stress on your joints. On the flip side, being severely underweight can completely starve your body of the nutrients required for new bone growth. Finding a healthy balance across all of these targets is totally non-negotiable for long-term prevention.
Which brings us to Section 5, screening and medical interventions.
Okay, so how do you actually know what's going on inside your bones? Enter the DEXA scan. This is the absolute gold standard for early detection. It's a quick, totally painless test that uses very low levels of x-rays to accurately measure your bone mineral density. Getting this initial screening is crucial because it gives specialists the exact data they need to literally stop bone loss in its tracks before a severe fracture ever happens. When you get those DEXA results back, you're going to see two very important metrics. First is your T-score, which compares your bone density against the average of a healthy young adult. This one's the primary metric used to officially diagnose osteoporosis. Then you have your Z-score. This one compares your density against peers of your exact age, sex, and size. Z-scores are super important because they help doctors figure out if there are other underlying medical reasons, like maybe a thyroid issue, that are contributing to your bone loss.
Now, what if natural methods and lifestyle habits just aren't cutting it? Especially around menopause, when protective estrogen levels just plummet and bone density starts declining rapidly. Well, we have some incredibly powerful medical tools available. Some treatments take a defensive approach, slowing down bone breakdown and targeting the specific proteins that cause loss. Others play offense. Anabolic agents can actually help create brand new bone mass. And then there's targeted hormone therapy to provide critical estrogen support. When used correctly, these interventions stabilize bone turnover and drastically reduce your risk of fractures.
Finally, Section 6, a sustainable prevention plan. You might actually want to snap a screenshot of this matrix. It basically takes the whole shebang of what we've covered today and categorizes it into a totally sustainable plan. It beautifully balances immediate, manageable daily actions with your biggest lifelong goals. Just look at how your short-term focus on daily calcium intake directly maps to your long-term, lifelong bone density, or how building muscle mass right now actively prevents frailty decades down the line. It's all about making intentional, gradual changes today that build an unbreakable foundation for tomorrow. So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Knowing that bone density loss is a true silent epidemic, a condition that can literally rob you of your independence without giving you a single warning sign, what step will you take today to ensure your bones can carry you through tomorrow? Whether that means adding some high-impact exercise to your routine, finally checking your vitamin D levels, or just going ahead and booking that DEXA scan, I really hope this explainer has empowered you to take proactive control of your skeletal health. Don't wait until it's too late.